Hey everybody, welcome to Dying Laughing. This is Dying Laughing with Jessimae, because laughing should be a stage in grief. I'm a full, firm believer of that. This is the podcast where we're going to be talking about grief and joy and how to keep your sanity intact while you're shoving carbs into your face in a house full of people and family members who remember you when you had bangs. So this whole episode is about how to survive all of that. Before we get into it, can you please rate and review the podcast? If you're on Apple, you can just scroll down and give us a quick review. It really helps out the podcast grow. Also, if you want to call into the podcast, you can do that. 513-916-0930. Give us a call, leave us a message. Ask a question if you need some advice. And don't forget, you can also email the podcast if you don't want to call and hear your voice, because a lot of us are like, I can't stand the sound of my own voice. Email us, jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com, and subscribe to the Patreon to get the full episode. Patreon.com/Jessimae Peluso. That's all the information. We got it all out of the way. So it's Thanksgiving Eve. I am reporting to you live from Syracuse, New York, the place that raised me, traumatized me, and taught me how to drive like a pro in the snow by the time I was 8 years old. This place holds a lot of memories. You guys know, if you listen to the podcast, and if you're a fan of mine, I come home often. I will be performing here this weekend at the Syracuse Funny Bone this Friday and Saturday, the 28th and 29th, right after Thanksgiving. So bring your family, leave them at home. You come, let's have a fun time. As always, a portion of my sales, whether it's merch or ticket sales, go towards Hilarity for Charity. So by you coming out and supporting me or purchasing merch, you are supporting an amazing foundation, Seth Rogen and Lauren Miller Rogen's Alzheimer's Foundation, that raises funds for families struggling with Alzheimer's disease, specifically caregivers. They are raising money for caregivers because inevitably a family member becomes your caregiver if you become sick with this disease. So it's an amazing foundation. Come out, support, laugh your butt off. Laughter for a cause. Big fan. And this is a Thanksgiving episode, a holiday survival guide. I'll be releasing one for Christmas as well, Christmas time. But there's something about being around your relatives this time of year that instantly turns you back into your most dysfunctional self. You walk in as a grown adult with bills and what you thought were healed trauma, and with 5 minutes into the conversation, you are arguing over where your favorite coffee mug has gone. Anyone else feel this way when you get home? I remember when I used to go home, I'd stay in my actual childhood bedroom. That's a triggering thing. Walking into your childhood bedroom. Anybody out there sleeping in their childhood bedroom this week and during the holidays? Now I'm in my sister's guest room, so it doesn't really have any remnants of my past. But walking into your childhood bedroom, that could feel like a true crime scene of who you used to be. Posters, journals, decor, everything's fluffy. I remember all my furniture was blow up. Not like the kind your uncle likes, but like blow up couches. Do you guys remember those? Like balloon. It's like basically an inner tube you had in your bedroom. It was amazing. You all know I had a John Stamos poster. All of that can be so triggering. And me being in upstate New York, being from upstate New York, that accent, that New York state accent can really creep up. If you have a regional accent, when you go home, it arrives like an uninvited guest. I'll walk in normally to a house sounding normal, and then suddenly I'm like, who wants to go to Carousel Mall? It's like some sort of linguistic poltergeist. You don't choose the accent chooses you. So I hope you're surviving the accent. I hope you're surviving your childhood bedroom. What was in your childhood bedroom? I want to ask the fans, the listeners, tell me, if you are staying in your childhood bedroom, what's there that is a deep memory from your past or something that you love that you haven't gotten rid of? Email me, jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com. I want to know what's in your childhood bedroom. I want to peep in. I'm one of those people who likes to be voyeuristic. And here, usually it's wintertime here in Syracuse. Wintertime about 10 months out of the year. Central New York winters used to build character and increase seasonal depression. But now it's like 80 degrees out. So Mother Nature is changing everything. People in New York State might actually become joyful out of Mother Nature's global warming situation. But normally, the weather here, let me tell you, you have not lived until you've cried in a Wegmans parking lot while scraping snow off your car with a Wegmans reward card. Just they're scraping off all that slushy ice, crying because you saw your ex from high school happily married to the prom queen, whatever time warp you had to walk into. And let me tell you, on Thanksgiving Eve, it is the biggest bar night in America. Okay. But please let me be your unofficial guru here. Do not go out. Do not go out. You don't need to go out. And Syracuse bars are probably going to be war tonight. It's like The Purge meets a horrible high school reunion. Everyone you never wanted to see again, it just materialize out of the fog, holding on to a Labatt Blue and unresolved feelings and a hard gut that they've built over 20 years of resentment. And there's always that one kid you had a crush on in 10th grade, and now he's balding aggressively and trying to sell you life insurance, asking you how your comedy skits are going. And there's always somebody who just constantly has to put you down for leaving the town. People who will always ask you, so you back in town for good? No, Karen, I'm not. Not yet, at least. You'll know when I start wearing a Carhartt religiously with a smile on my face when I've moved back home onto my farm. Until then, no, Care Bear, have not chosen to come back. So there's a lot of emotions, a lot of memories that can be conjured up when you guys come home for the holidays, as I am here. I have the benefit of coming home often. So I kind of have my feet wet in what to expect when I arrive home, especially for the holidays. Now, as a person who's lost both of their parents, I am an orphan. I have a little bit of experience as to what it's like to be around for the holidays without people I love. But just in general, this whole episode is about how to survive the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving. This is all about how to survive Thanksgiving. Now, one of the first things we have to deal with around the table is dodging political conversations without faking your own death. There's an art form to that. There's a lot of completely ridiculous conversations that have practical redirect lines that you can use. So when you're whatever side of the political line aunt asks you some ridiculous question about whatever political thing is charged right now in the news, you can say, well, that's interesting. Did you see that video of a raccoon stealing a donut? Who doesn't love raccoons stealing donuts? Is there anything better than that? I'm so sick of all the political conversation, everyone acting like they know what's going on. No one knows what's going on. It is complete mayhem out there. So don't dive into the mayhem. You have to divert it. Just like you do with Alzheimer's patients or anybody who is sort of in a neurodegenerative space, you treat them like children respectfully, with dignity, and you just redirect their attention. If they keep pushing you and they ask you, oh, did you see what they said in the news? Did you see what Donald Trump said or what this person said? You say, oh, I'm off politics this week. Yeah, my nervous system is observing a holiday. Otherwise, I'm going to explode. I'm going to explode politically, emotionally, and spiritually. You could do the turkey pivot, which is where you just turn into them with the plate of turkey. Just carry the turkey around all day. Carry the dang turkey around all day. And if somebody mentions something political, hand them the turkey. Hand it over. Pass the turkey. If they want to get political, we're going to pass the turkey. I feel like this is a move that psychologists should study in how to divert arguments, political arguments during the holiday season. Also, if we're going to be real about it, another way to dodge political ridiculousness during the holidays is let's normalize setting boundaries with those people. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, not discussing politics is my love language. Okay, Aunt Carol, so we're not going to go there. Can you pass the cranberry? Please pass the cranberry. Okay. Another way to deal with it is to always have some sort of resource in your pocket, a microdose of psilocybin, a little microdose of an edible, however you enjoy. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not here to judge. You're your own adult. We have enough information to know what's good for us and what's bad for us. And we also know ourselves and our limits and our boundaries. So, hey, if you need a little 5 milligz in your pocket to survive it, go ahead. By the way, that's going to be the last hot take and tip for each one of these surviving Thanksgiving tips that we're getting into. Okay, so one of the last for political conversations is an edible, and the last for all of these. The other thing that is always asked or often asked when we're home with our family is, why are you still single? You know how many times I've been asked this question? As a grown woman, I am learning to channel tough love, not bitterness. Bitterness makes you ugly. So don't get bitter, get better. Figure out how to get better. And what's important to know is usually this is a generational gap. Okay, this is a classic generational conversation. Our older relatives don't know how to make conversation that isn't diagnostic. Our older relatives were raised in a totally different emotional ecosystem. They didn't grow up talking about their feelings or their ambitions or their fears or boundaries. They didn't go to therapy. They didn't talk about self-worth. They didn't have self-worth. They didn't talk about or even deal with inner child work. That was witchery to them. If you talked about inner child work to any of your older relatives, they're going to think you're a warlock. That wasn't the language of their generation. So when they try to make conversation, they go straight to diagnostics, asking questions that sound more like, they're filling out your medical chart than catching up with you. So it's not malicious. It's literally only the connection that they know how to make. They ask questions like, you look tired. Have you slept enough? I love that one. You look tired. Are you getting enough sleep? No. Are you? How is anybody? How is anybody? Every other week, we're barely dodging an asteroid coming from outer space. The other things they say are like, have you put on weight? Why haven't you settled down? When they could be asking questions like, how's your heart health? What's bringing you joy lately? What are you excited about? These are not questions that older relatives ask because they don't know how to make a connection that isn't a wellness check or a performance review. So you just have to figure out for yourself how to manage this. Here are some comebacks that I wrote down that I think would help you not get disowned, but also make you feel like you have some autonomy over your own feelings. So when somebody asks you, why are you still single? Here are my responses. The good ones are always gay. Look at your brother or look at Uncle John. And you could actually say that or just physically look at them. The good ones are always gay and just look at your Uncle John. This isn't a jab at my actual Uncle John, although the jury's out and I'm sure he would have fun with it. Why are you still single? Because I've evolved past the need to raise someone else's son. That's my favorite one. You know why I'm still single? I have evolved past the need to raise someone else's son. Yeah, turns out I didn't have children for a reason, and I'm certainly not going to have your child. So why don't you take your dusty son back and teach him some values, some integrity, and maybe peel back some of that narcissism? Because I'm not doing it this holiday season. Why am I still single? Because I don't negotiate with terrorists. That's why I'm still single. That's number one on the list. You know why I'm still single? Because I don't negotiate with terrorists. You know why I'm still single? Because I'm in a committed relationship with my inner peace. You know why I'm still single? Because I'm waiting until my family trauma resolves. So never, ever will I be adjoined with another person if you all stay the same way you are. This is a you problem, not a me problem. Why am I still single? Because I am practicing gratitude, not codependency. These are all ways you can respond to this question. Make them your own. And again, the last hot tip, keep an edible in your pocket. Keep an edible in your pocket. It's just going to make you delivering these reactions and responses a little smoother. And when it comes to the conversation of being single or being with someone, there is a lot of attachment science. And I am a reader of books. I'm basically the Oprah of Syracuse. Okay. So instead of throwing yourself into all of this chaos, you just have to figure out how to talk about gratitude and connection. And this is where attachment science comes in. This podcast is basically now a TED Talks that I wish I was having in the parking lot of a Wegmans. But there are a couple authors. There's Sue Johnson, who created the emotionally focused therapy. And she found that humans are wired for emotional bonding. Obviously, we know we're wired for emotional bonding. We're not meant to be independent. Look what happens when someone dies, when your parents are in a relationship for 30, 40 years and one of them passes away, the other one doesn't make it that much longer. In many cases, sometimes they thrive. Usually when the man passes away or the husband passes away, the wife thrives. She thrives. She has a new lease on life. She's got multiple boyfriends. She's traveling. She learns a new language. She starts a business at 80. Oftentimes when the husband is left and widowed, he fucking crumbles. He fucking crumbles. And there's a lot of evidence that shows because women build and enrich their relationships in their communities, and that's why they often thrive being single and thrive after they divorce or someone dies. But Sue Johnson also says feeling safe with people literally calms and regulates your nervous system. This is a basic need. So while it's cool to act like you're fine being single and finding a way to respond to that question is important, it's also important to know that being and wanting to be with someone is a totally normal thing. It's a secure connection. Even with just one person, it lowers our stress and it increases our immune system. So basically having someone who loves us is basically like having a human weighted blanket. There's a lot of benefits to it. And there's another author, Amir Levine, he wrote Attached, which is a really popular book, really good book if you're somebody who's struggled with relationships. And he talks about how our attachment styles shape how safe or unsafe we feel during the holidays. And it's really important, not just on a relationship level with a loved one, an intimate relationship. Our other familial intimate relationships really indicate what our attachment style is. And secure people tend to lean into support and reach out for support and build on the relationships they have. And anxious people tend to focus on what's wrong and focus on danger and focus on what they're missing. And they scan and they look for danger. And avoidance out there, where my avoidance at, I can sometimes fall into that category. We also Google flights home. We're like, oh, I'm going to go. You walk right in the house in the holidays. You're like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need anybody. I don't need to be attached to a single person. I'm going to Google a flight home before dessert. So it's important to know what your attachment style is this holiday season. Maybe look into it. Check out Amir Levine, check out Attached, check out Sue Johnson, who created Emotionally Focused Therapy. Both of those are really great resources and just a little bit of support for you to have figuring out how to respond to these ridiculous questions in conversations with your family. And I think here's where gratitude is an important thing to have. Here's where gratitude comes into play. You know, especially when it comes to attachment. I think when you practice gratitude, you activate the same system in the brain that basically makes secure attachment feel good. Safety, trust, emotional grounding, and emotional availability. It makes you feel less alone, even if the person you're missing isn't here. Practicing gratitude is another way to really survive the holiday season. And that's why it's on the list. I often am somebody who lives from a place of feeling very fortunate. I also had parents who instilled that in me. How I was raised is a big part of how I feel as a person today, even though I have lost many people that I love. But I feel like because of my parents and how they acted and seeing how they were with people and how generous and even in the worst of times, grateful my mother was on a consistent basis, it instilled that value in me as an adult now, especially as an adult. It's a practice. It's not something that, although for me, it comes a little bit easier because it's a part of my fabric of who I am. It's still a daily practice. It's still something that I feel like you have to get yourself into a state of being and feeling grateful in order to get to that place where you're able to have those chemicals that release in your brain to feel good, to have those feel good emotions and feeling trust and emotionally seen and grounded. And here's the real kicker. Grief and gratitude are not opposites. They, I believe, amplify each other. And that might sound confusing because grief sounds like such, and has been, I think, thought of as such a heavy experience in life. But it really, for me, has uncovered so many aspects of my life that I feel fortunate for. It's like losing people and going through loss can show you how much you have in life. You miss people you lost because they mattered. You feel grateful for what you still have because you know how fragile life is. It's not an either or. It's two truths that exist on the same plane. And I think if we think about that this holiday season, dealing with your drunk aunt asking why you're still single, knowing damn well she's gone through 5, 6 husbands, makes it a little easier. Again, maybe some psilocybin, maybe an edible. I'm not one to judge. There's also micro joys that I think make the holiday season survivable. All of the holidays. And I have created a little list for you guys. I think that each one of us can relate to. Each thing on this list is something I thought about for myself specifically. And I feel like there are small joys in life that can help us through this time and help us feel that gratitude in our core that I think a lot of us probably struggle to get to because we think it's some big practice that has to include an hour of meditation every day and some weird somatic dance that some hillbillies doing on Instagram. You don't have to do all of that. Well, some of that might work. I think it's more about just simplifying everything in life. It's by diluting it down to the real core and raw truths of life. What really matters as a human being. And that can help you laugh during the times where you feel triggered with your family. And the practice might be writing these down. The practice might be reciting these to yourself or creating a list of for yourself of micro joys. But here are some micro joys that I wrote that I think make the holidays survivable. 1, the first quiet moment of the day. I love that. When the house is quiet, before I hear a fart, before I feel or can smell the familial trauma breathing in the house. The first moment of the day. It's a great moment, especially if you're an early riser. I love early mornings. 2, a good cup of coffee or tea. Come on now, before the house wakes up. Tastes like sanity and escape. A nice hot cup of something to yourself, and it might require you waking up 10 minutes earlier. 3, your dog looking for you like you're the lead in a Christmas movie, a Hallmark Christmas movie, even if you know you're the villain in many people's movies, which you are. This is a raw truth as well. You are the villain in a lot of people's movies, so don't act like you're perfect and you don't have things that are wrong with you. Number 4, going outside for fresh air and realizing that the world and life is bigger than your family and your family problems and your drama. Just having a little bit of perspective is such a micro joy. 5, finding a corner in your house that nobody else knows about and using that as your emotional real estate. Just hanging on to it. Cry in a corner. Cry in a freaking corner. Okay? You just find it and stay there. That can bring a little bit of micro joy to you. Number 6, finding and having that one cousin who you actually like showing up and validating your entire existence. It's my cousin Allie. She doesn't live with me in LA anymore. She's gone now, but she's still my G. She's my OG. She's in my corner. Find that one cousin or family member that you love. It's also my cousin Jimmy. I also have a cousin Vinny. I am an Italian from upstate New York, but my cousin Jimmy's my OG as well. Number 7, a micro joy, Wegmans. Honestly, Wegmans could fix the nation. You don't know unless you know. Check out a Wegmans if you're nearby. There's something about it just fills my soul. 8, the first bite of stuffing on the Thanksgiving plate, which immediately just hits your bloodstream like crack and fills you with that serotonin and delicious butter and whatever grease it's filled with. And matter of fact, anything on the plate hitting your mouth. Micro joy. Love food. So grateful to be able to put this warm food in my mouth that I didn't have to cook. 9, laughing at something dumb. My sister and I have turned this into an Olympic sport. A family pun, a dropped dinner roll, your uncle's inability to use his iPhone, whatever it is. Laugh uncontrollably. My sister and I laugh at nothing, and it's silent laughter. It's the quietest laughter ever. There's no noise coming out of our body, and we're shaking, we're convulsing. It's one of the greatest joys of life. 10, kind of wrapping up what we've been talking about, a tiny gratitude moment when you realize, okay, maybe I'm okay. Just a brief moment where you look around and you're like, man, I'm warm. I'm in a house outside from the weather. My belly is full. I'm with people who I don't love all of them, but I feel loved most of the time. And the times I don't feel loved, I'm learning how to do that on my own. Got to find those little moments. Number 11, the drive home in silence after everything, where you process it all at once and everyone at once and realize that your life is actually full. Might be full of a couple people you don't necessarily get along with or see eye to eye with all the time, but it's full. 12, the blanket you steal from your childhood room because nostalgia overcomes shame any day. Nostalgia is a superpower. 13, remembering someone you lost and feeling them close for a moment. Not like in a spooky way, but in a warm, oh, they really haven't left way. In a way that you know they're still around and it's okay to remember them without crying every time. 14, realizing you made it through another day. Just another day. Maybe it's messy, maybe it's beautiful, but you're still here. You matter. You're still trying. You're still growing. And 15, this is the last on the list. I wrote all these down last night. The top micro joy to help you survive the holidays is to reminisce. I think reminiscing is real life time travel for your soul. It's a way to navigate through your life a little bit and realize where you've come from and the people you've come from and the experiences you've had and the struggles you've overcome and the loves that you've had and the heartbreak that you've had and how you've been able to get through all of that and still wake up every day and find purpose and go towards your purpose is a real superpower. So don't lose that. Don't get caught up in the swiping on social media and get pulled into all of these arbitrary arguments and a lot of the fake drama that's going on in the world. Don't let that pull you away from the magic that exists within you. And here's my wish for every one of you before I let you go and to eat your food and to be with your family. I just want you to find one tiny thing that you appreciate today. A good meal, a warm house, a memory that doesn't gut punch you. Whatever it is, let that be enough for you. And I hope all of you have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you find the edibles. I hope you find the microdoses. I hope you avoid your creepy uncle and his lingering stare. I hope you guys stay safe, stay sane. And for all of the love, for all things holy, stay out of the bars tonight. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys. Thank you so much.